All right, so now we're going to take you out to Facebook Live. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Booyah. There you go.
Booyah. All right, let me share it on my wall, too, so we can get some more viewers. Try to get some more viewers here.
So we got Karl the Shark on with us today. Karl actually comes to us from the beautiful city of.
Trying to get some more viewers here.
Yeah,
So we got Karl the Shark on with us today.
But yeah, so Karl, man, Karl's coming to us from Nevada out there in Lake Tahoe, where they still have snow on the ground, and it's beautiful out there. And he's known for, cut his teeth in the internet marketing world, doing 7-figure launches for people, turning people into, multiple 6 figures in a week, as far as like doing, launches where they're making tons of money. And Karl learned how to do that in the process. Has now gone out and developing his own products and services he brings to the marketplace. And I know he's even got Shark Bites TV on with his boy Davin Michaels out there. What's up, Davin? And we got Davin out there interviewing him, and he's on Amazon. My man's on Amazon.
Amazon Prime, baby.
Amazon Prime. If you got a TV show on Amazon Prime, you must be somebody. Because that's the first I've ever seen of something like that. I mean, outside of Tony Robbins, being out there on that stuff. I mean, like, then there's Karl. So go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Tony Robbins, he's got the Netflix locked up, and I've got Amazon.
You got Amazon, man. I think Amazon's a little bit bigger than Netflix.
Possible.
So, Karl, man, tell us a little bit about what you're up to and how you got started being an entrepreneur, bro.
Yeah, definitely. The entrepreneur spirit is something I think that a lot of us are usually born with. Obviously, it's definitely something you could be trained at too, or you could get a desire for later on because of, all the programming and stuff that goes into us when we're young. But at a very young age, for me, my grandma was a saleswoman. She was phenomenal, man. She was like one of the best saleswomen I'd ever known. My grandfather was a salesperson. He was like a tycoon in Texas. He went from rags to riches over and over again. Had become like more of a tycoon in the real estate industry, made millions of dollars, lost millions of dollars, made it again. So I was raised in a situation where I got to live and be around other entrepreneurial type people along with salespeople. And so at a young age, I just started thinking like, how could I make money? How could I hustle for money? And I was definitely money motivated at a young age. Even in like junior high, I would go to Costco and I'd buy like Snickers bars and I would buy like bubble gum. And
you're that guy I bought candy from in high school?
Yeah, exactly. I was that guy. So yeah, and so what happened was the actual principal found out about it because I was selling candy to faculty. Like I was killing it. My locker was just full of candy lined all the way up. I mean, I was like, you need some Snickers bars, you need some cupcakes. What do you need? I had it. So basically, he came in and he was like, hey, our school's not making as much money on our machines anymore because all the faculty is buying it from you. You have the best candy.
So you're selling not to the kids, but all the teachers.
Yeah, I was selling it to everybody. So I got shut down by the man. That's when I learned about the man.
That's your first experience with the man. And you probably weren't paying taxes on that either.
Yeah, let's keep that between us. We're not gonna share that.
You hear that IRS is listening. He's not bugging us, right?
How do you tax a 10-year-old, Figure it out. I was paying sales taxes, somewhere.
Yeah, you had to buy it from somewhere, so you had to pay some taxes.
Exactly.
So, Karl, what was the big purpose behind going out and you see kids nowadays, and they, if you think about it, if you look around the school, most people aren't selling candy like you. I mean, like one of the things I like to ask is like that entrepreneurial type mindset, and what is, where did that come from for you? Was it just watching your grandmother be a salesperson, or watching the old tycoon, or like what was that behind you? Like for me, I know it was about getting this toy I wanted to buy, and I went through and I learned it from my dad, talking to him about being an entrepreneur.
Honestly, I think it came from two parts. One was inspiration from my grandma and my grandpa, who I love to death. God bless their souls. But they inspired me at a young age. The other thing that also inspired me was that my family, my dad and my mom, were very young when they had me. And, we grew up on literally welfare, food stamps, Section 8. I lived in a trailer park for a long time. And so that also influenced me massively. This is not what I want. This is when I grow up, I want to actually do something. I want to help people. I want to make a difference. I want to put a dent into the world. And I want to create products that people enjoy to use, love to use, and are raving fans. And so at a young age, I knew that, which is weird. That self-talk you have with yourself at a young age, I was able to somehow like summon something inside of me that made me want to just push through the limits. And, there's a lot of definitely failures in between, but the failures are just what make it more worth it. So yeah, that's definitely where it came from.
And when you first got out, I mean, how was your background as far as like, you go to some Ivy League school, or you had an awesome degree, and, I'm sure you got set up for all these kind of great, successful things along the way with becoming an entrepreneur.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a rough road. It's not like the arch or whatever that you see on big companies, stock reports or whatever. It's very rocky. Stock market is very rocky too, but it's very rocky. There's a lot of triumphs and there's a lot of failures. There's a lot of times where in life, you're questioning yourself. Even doing like Shark Bites TV, like I thought at a certain point I was going to just give up on it because Amazon, I was just going to go somewhere else with it because Amazon was so tough to break through. But finally, when we did break through, it was pretty amazing. But that's the thing that happens in business and in life is you just got to play it like a deck of cards. You got to play it like a golf game. You have bad strokes, you have good ones. You celebrate the wins. You learn what you did right, and you learn what you did wrong, so you can go forward. And so I didn't go to any Ivy League school or anything like that. I did take a couple of college classes, realized right away that this was not for me. What was for me was to learn how to become a good person at sales. I found out at a very young age that salespeople were the top 2% highest paid industries in the world. So that's what influenced me. I was like, wow, I could be in that 2 percentile if I could become a good salesperson. And that's it. You learn the knowledge of becoming a good salesperson and you become great at it. You could actually write your own check in this life, in this world. And so no matter what your background is from, no matter where you came from. So that's really where some of my lessons, along my trail, along my journey is I learned young to get into sales. And I did it. And I did really well. I did good at sales.
Mm-hmm. And when you first started out selling, what's the first thing you ever sold? Was it this pen?
Yeah, no, it wasn't the pen. I would rather sell something that had a little bit more value to it. What I first started selling, man, honestly, was candy bars and Snickers, right? After that, my first business venture was at age 14 with me and my grandma, the great saleswoman. And she and I...
mentor. So you got a mentor, right?
I had a mentor. I learned how no is not an answer. No is just I don't K-N-O-W at age 14. Yeah. So basically, she taught me, we went from... we had an arcade business. And so I would buy arcade games off of like the Big Five and the back in the day before we had Craigslist on was a classified ads, and basically would go and take these machines, put them into restaurants, put them into laundromats, put them into place, and then collect my quarters every single week and then cash those quarters in. So I learned from her and I started a little business venture together, and everywhere we went to eat, everywhere we went together, we would go and we would pitch people. And I would watch my grandma not take no for an answer. We would literally almost put a machine in every single place we would go to. However, the man has to come in and stop you at some point, right? So sure. My dad, my father, he's awesome. He's another great person, great mentor for me, but on a different level. But he basically was like, Karl, I can't carry these things around anymore. Using his truck, using his dollies, using him. He's not really making any money. He's just kind of helping the cause. And so, yeah, we had to end that business venture after about a year and a half of doing it. But it was my first business venture, and it made me realize and see that, there's potential out there to get yourself in other streams of income and other streams of money. Money is just a currency flowing down the river. You just got to build your pipes.
Wow, some golden nuggets right there. So number one is you learned that how to spell no is knowledge, right? And there's, and then number two, build as many pipes as you can along the way to divert some of that currency into your own pocket. Yep,
exactly.
That's cool, man.
At age 14, man. And then the next thing I started selling was cars. Okay. In high school, I had cars before I could even drive. And this was kind of a thing I learned from my father. My dad would, buy cars on the side, fix them up, and sell them all the time, and he'd make money doing it. So I literally started in high school with like one of the ugliest cars you could imagine. Like it was like a 1978 Honda Prelude. And it was more of a beater. It was just something we'd drive off the road and try to kill it every time we drove it. So that car turned into like a couple of jacked up lifted trucks that were probably worth in the tens of thousands of dollars, just the engines alone. But that all started from just flipping car after car after car and willing and dealing with people on a level, like locally, just going to seeing as many cars as I could. I'd play the numbers. So a lot of people probably wouldn't do that. They feel bad or whatever, but I would play the numbers because someone was selling a car. They needed money for it. So I'd find out who was that person selling that car, and then I'd find out what they would take for it. And of course I would do a little bit of lowballing because my job was to make money. And so I'd get that car, put it in our driveway. And then at one point we had about 14 or 15 cars in my dad's yard.
It's a car lot. That's a car lot.
Yeah. So that's exactly what happened. My dad the man came in and he said, he got mad and he just yelled and he's like, can you take these effing cars off this property?
And then you're 14 at the time.
No. I was a little bit older. I was in high school. So
you could drive at this point, right?
Yeah, I was like 15 and a half, 16, 17. I was right around there, 17 years old, was the point where my dad said, you got to get these cars off the lot. So I was like, Dad, but they're a lot. Like cars they belong on the lot, right? So we wanted to keep those cars there. But he basically kind of kiboshed it and we got rid of it at, right around 17 years old, but it didn't really matter. What I learned there was some more lessons. What I learned is that there's a need for something to buy, no matter what it is, where it's at. You can sell stuff online on eBay. You can sell stuff on Amazon. You can sell stuff at used stuff. It doesn't have to be new. You can sell stuff on Craigslist. You probably could still sell stuff in the newspaper. I believe there's still probably even a generation or a niche on there for something. So
there's newspapers still?
Yeah, I think there is. I don't know. I don't get out much.
I haven't read any lately. Usually the only time you see a newspaper, I was leaving the hotel room and be on the floor.
There is a newspaper here locally. We do have a newspaper, and they definitely hit up our family has a restaurant here locally, and so they hit us up all the time. And there's definitely an older demographic that does read it still. So I mean, we get even an older demographic in our restaurant, and they say you should advertise here. So it's still something there. It still works. Obviously, there's an evolution of marketing that's happened. And newspapers were huge at one point, but they're kind of going away with the internet.
Yeah, that goes a little bit with you got to change with the times. And I know, Karl, you started out and you're doing a lot of JVs, putting that salesmanship to use with setting up a lot of JVs. And can you talk about what a JV is out there for somebody who possibly doesn't know, and what were you doing in the background?
Yeah, so JV really is an affiliate. I don't know where the word JV actually came from. It's like junior venture or something, but really, it's an affiliate. An affiliate marketer is someone that has or owns a list. Most of the time, they are a product creator of some sort, or they're just someone that has a giant list and they need to monetize it, and they have a certain following. So if someone's
a list of what though, like help everybody understand, like
there's different niches, right? There's like make money online. There's MLM, there's SEO, which means search engine optimization. There's WordPress, there's e-com. There's a lot of different niches out there. There's health and fitness. There's so many niches out there. And there's industry leaders and influencers that have these different lists that they can actually offer products to and share in the profit. And so it's kind of a deal between me. I guess that's where the JV part comes in, because it's like, Daryl, you have a military list of 50,000 people, and I have a product that works really well for that list. So basically, getting in the front of those, getting in front of money when it flows is putting together two people. So I kind of got into the industry as a JV manager. My job was to find people with that list and then take our products and mesh them together so both parties make money, and then both parties are very happy, and then also take care of the customers after on the back end as well. So it's kind of cool though. So someone that has a list, they actually can sell a product and not have to worry about servicing it afterwards. The other person is, making a deal with them because they have the list. They can bring traffic and they can bring sales by their recommendation. And then their job is to keep them happy so that hopefully they can do business again in the future.
Okay.
And that's kind of it in a nutshell. I mean, if you want me to break it down a little bit more, I can.
Yeah, no, to break it down Barney style, shotgun style, what they call in the Marine Corps, is I've got, Bob over here, it's got a list of people that like to buy, weightlifting equipment. And then you've got a bunch of people over here that like to, Susie has a list of people that are all into the fitness world. So you would go to Bob, who's got the weightlifting equipment, and say, hey, Bob, you want to sell my people some weightlifting equipment? And you would then put her in touch with Susie, help negotiate the deal between the two of them. And then you receive a compensation behind that. And then Susie gets the chance to help her clients get cool weightlifting equipment. and Bob would get a chance to sell his weightlifting equipment where he didn't actually have to go out and find anybody.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. And there's more to it. There's obviously more to it. I mean, I think the great Dan Kennedy says that a buyer is a buyer is a buyer is a buyer. So if you get someone on your list that is a buyer and you have products that they love to buy, well, you might as well be the one selling it to them because they're going to buy it from somebody else anyway. So it's a great concept. It's definitely a more starting to become more of a broad use of cells out there. That's definitely a huge billion-dollar industry, but it's starting to be even realized by some of the big players out there. Big companies, big corporations are starting to adapt and use that as well as another flow of traffic, another flow of income into their company's bottom line.
Yeah, I learned my first kind of cut my teeth on the internet marketing space world was 2004, where I learned about buying an affiliate marketing course and taking that and put it into use in my spare time, and was making like $500 in my spare time. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I was like, this is cool. Yeah. back in the heyday.
It's like a checklist, like A, get an email account, B, get a website, get a domain.
Yeah. That's pretty much the course. I had to go to Front Page. Anybody that's been around that long knows what Front Page is,
Yeah.
So with doing that, Karl, what's enabled you to kind of transition from what you're doing there to what you're doing now with doing the development of the products?
Yeah, so major transitions. I've had some really good mentors along the way, and one of my good mentors talks about stacking knowledge, and so that's where I've evolved myself into this industry. So I knew right away, quite some time ago, I'd say 2012, 2010, 2011, I was really paying attention to who all the great internet marketers were. I was on all their lists. I was buying their products. I was probably one of the best shiny object syndrome people ever because I would literally I got to get that. And I would buy it.
I beat you to it.
Yeah, you probably did. I honestly was. I was one of those guys that would buy every single thing in the world. And it's only because I wanted to consume it. I wanted to learn from it. I wasn't the guy that bought it and then set it up on a shelf. It actually would kind of piss me off if I was letting something sit on the shelf and I knew about it. Yeah. But it got to the point where I bought so much stuff that I have no idea. It's probably most of it is sitting on the shelf, but that's okay because it brought me to this point. It got me to learn the ins and the outs of the industry to where I could actually now start to figure out what are my steps into the industry. And actually last year wrote an ebook that's on Amazon called Breaking In. And it's about breaking into the internet marketing industry and how to go, we went from zero to $760,000 in sales on one launch, on one product. So that was some pivotal things at that point was what's next? I'm constantly thinking in the future, what is next? And I knew that at a very early spot when I was working with Chris Record, I needed to figure out how to get in. And one thing that came up was to become a JV manager. I'd already started, I created my first product. I already created 2 products at that point, but they weren't, as successful as they should have been. They kind of were a little bit of a bomb. One of them actually, they're both still there. They still both run. They still do what they're supposed to do. But it wasn't quite yet that I didn't seek or see the success yet. And working with Chris, I got to learn the industry really more on the back end on how to run launches and then how to recruit JVs and affiliates and how to mesh those products together. And then also how to keep both parties very happy along the way. And so that was kind of my step into the business. But at the same time, because I had that product development knowledge already, I knew that there's massive problems out there, and I wanted to create products that would actually give solutions to those massive problems, or even some things that we see but we don't understand, or we see and we're not really seeing it for its potential yet. So I wanted to expose some of those things with some of the products that I've started developing and designing and are launching now this year. So this year I'm transitioning. I still will do JV management type stuff. We have our own JV manager now, Dave Gavick, which I'm training him, and we will probably take some things in the future. But right now I'm just so focused on building incredibly good products that I might not even need to go back or even want to go back into the JV management position, because kind of moving in those steps, stacking that knowledge and moving into what's next. And I think we're building phenomenal stuff. I mean, I'm very, very excited about what we have up and coming.
So one of the things is there's no feedback and there's no failure in life. There's only feedback. And you had a couple of products out there you launched and they didn't give you as good desired results as you were looking for,
Yeah.
right? What were some of those things that you could go back and tell yourself now at that point, learning points that you'd share with somebody who's possibly wanting to launch their own product or bring out their product to the marketplace? What are some golden nuggets you could share?
Ultimately, I don't think I could tell myself anything different because it's part of the process. Okay. You need to go through that process of building a product so you can know what it means, what it takes, who needs to be involved. So it was more of a learning lesson for me. I could look at it as a total failure, but really it wasn't. I needed to have those happen. So it's not like I could really tell myself something then. The only thing I could tell other people is if you have an idea, take a chance and go out there and put it out there. You're going to learn so much about how to do it that when the next great idea you come up with is going to be easier to do. The first one's going to be tough. The second one's going to be tough. The third one, they're not all easy by any means, but they get easier to do. You know what's next. You know what the steps are. You know you actually start building connections and relationships with other people that could be really good, could be good JVs for you and stuff like that. So it just continues to get better. Just believe that it gets better, but you got to do it. You got to take the step, take the first step and get it out there and do it. That's the best advice I could give about that. And I really, like I said, I can't go back on it because it was needed. I needed to go through that.
Taking action, is the big core thing you're talking about there is in not looking back, but just taking action moving forward, getting a mentor, getting somebody in place that's helped you. What is one of the books that you would recommend somebody out there who wanted to get their entrepreneur mindset on the right track that you read and you took a lot away from?
There's a couple of books that come to mind. If you want to do software, the book, The Lean Startup.
Okay.
That book is awesome. Talks about the MVP, the minimum viable product method. That's the first place I ever heard about it. Eric Weiss, I think, is the name of the actual author of it. And a phenomenal book, a good book to listen to on audio as well. The other book I highly recommend is Reworked. I don't know if you've heard about that book, but guys that did Basecamp and 37 Signals, I think is the name of it. Yeah, phenomenal book. That book was more entertaining for me to read than Eric Weiss's writing. Because Eric is more of like technical a little bit, where these guys are more like you and me. Like I think they race like Porsches and stuff like that now. So really cool group, of people to learn from. Those two books were definitely pivotal for me that I would recommend if you want to get into software. I'm big into the software thing right now. So.
And why do you like software so much?
Because it bridges the gap between time and money. And it usually does two things. It either automates and saves you tons of time, or it maximizes your potential to make money. So that's what I love about software. I love technology because it hacks that stuff for you, in life and online.
So cuts that time down, for somebody. And again, you guys, do you do software as a service, or is it as they pay monthly, or?
Yeah, so we have a couple of different work. Yeah, we have a couple of different software. Some of them are like a one pay and you're in, and then we also have some software as a service. Right now, we just launched a product called we beta launched it. It's not really launched; it's not available to the public right now. But we do have a beta group testing it out. It's called Impulsely, and it's a full featured e-com funnel building app that I think is going to blow everybody's minds when they see what it can do. It does stuff like one-click upsells. It bypasses carts and stuff like that. It integrates with Shopify, pulls all the variants and text and images, and you can put your products, you can move them around. It's completely drag and drop. It has the boxiness, but it's not boxy because we got rid of what you would call columns, but they're still in there. So you can kind of move and drag columns around and stuff like that. Really cool software. I'm extremely, extremely excited about it. Me and Chase Bowers, we have been working on this for quite some time, about 9 months. And the software itself, we brought in two partners that have been building another piece of software that's been in development for like 2 years. So it's a massive machine. It's amazing when you see it. So that's not coming out for a while, but that's something that we're working on. That's a software as a service type of product. And then also me and Keith Gosnell, who's a developer in the industry as well, we built recently a product called Blogashop. And Blogashop is going to expose Shopify's blogging network. I feel like that's one of those things that everybody's looking at. They just don't use it. And it's because it takes time to write blogs. Like, I know blogs work, but it takes time to write blogs. So what this software does is it'll help you. It finds the content for you. It'll grab royalty-free images. It'll spin your content. We have this huge database of over 66,000 articles that you can pull from. We can pull from YouTube videos as well, and we can put call to actions from your store into your sites. And on top of that, it works on WordPress. So it doesn't just work on Shopify, it works on WordPress as well. And that's going to come out on the 29th. We're going to launch that on the 29th. It'll be a one price type of thing. So it'll be cool. So a lot of people can get in, and it'll create tons and tons of free traffic. So we're really excited about it. I feel like that's an area that is very untouched when it comes to e-com and Shopify. I know a lot of people are doing it on WordPress, and a lot of people were excited when Shopify came out with a WordPress plugin because of the SEO advantages. But Shopify has a blog. It has a blogging network. So we're actually going to expose that more and help people utilize it more so they can drive traffic directly to their stores. So that's
exciting. That's really exciting. I think that's going to be huge. I know you and I were just talking about some software you're coming up with. I can't wait to get my hands on it to institute, because it is about, the software you're creating is helping people buy their time back and automate that experience a little bit more for the customers, that allow them to have a better customer experience. And as you were talking about with like Facebook and a lot of these platforms that are out there, they're all about customer experience. And, where Google was probably 15 years ago, there was Wild Wild West, you could pretty much do what you wanted out there. And then now it's like the Can't Spam Act, and then this act. And if you don't have this on your page, now you're going to get, dropped or not even listed on the page. It's one of those things where you see that even coming true now with Facebook. Facebook's starting to put in those same kind of conditions that Google has been putting in. What are some of the trends and some of the things you've actually seen people for getting their account shut down?
Yeah, I mean, you got to be really careful with terms of service and stuff like that, especially with some products that do come out. They do actually lack in the terms and service, and then they're not liable for your success, and they're not liable for your failure, and they're not liable for what you do. So you got to be careful. You got to make sure that you understand the laws, the bylaws. I kind of jokingly say that Facebook is like the online police, because there's such a powerful online platform for people to use for doing ads and stuff like that. But you hear about people getting their store, or not their stores, but you hear people about getting their Facebook ads account shut down, and their Facebook profile shut down, and their fan pages shut down. And it's because they're trying to beat the system. And that's sometimes what a lot of these marketing products do, is they help you beat the system. But you got to make sure that if you are doing that, it's a very fine line sometimes, and so you want to make sure that you're sticking to the law. My background before, I said I was in sales. My background before online marketing was insurance sales, and talk about a regulated industry, probably one of the most regulated industries out there. And it was almost so regulated to where it scared you from not even wanting to be an insurance agent. And so I'm used to that. I'm used to understanding what a terms and services. And so that's one of the focal points of our software, is that we want to make sure that we're within the terms of service. Obviously, we're not liable for something you're trying to tweak that may be against it, but just make sure to educate yourself. Make sure you understand it, so you don't get your account shut down. I mean, if you had a 1 million person Facebook fan page that you're monetizing and you get that shut down, you're talking about the same kind of stuff that happened with SEO and Google a few years ago, where guys were making millions of dollars to making zero, making nada, and then not knowing what the heck to do. So things change too, right? So you got to be able to have more of those streams of income, but also be prepared and understand that you need to know that about your business, especially going forward. Today, it's all about reputation online. It's all about, and one thing I've noticed with Facebook recently too is that there's some softwares out there that seem to do like a lot of posting and stuff, and Facebook allows that. But from some of my own testing, I've actually noticed that it hurts my actual own edge rank. And they say that edge rank isn't around anymore, but I think it is. And it basically it's like if I started using some of their third-party service in some instances to start posting stuff on my site automatically, and it's stuff I'm definitely interested in, it's stuff I definitely want it to do, I've noticed my edge rank lower on stuff I would personally post from my phone or from something else. Facebook inside of their platform, a lot of people don't realize this, but you can schedule out posts, and your fan pages. You can actually schedule out posts for weeks, months ahead of time. So you don't necessarily need to use those, but I'm noticing that with Facebook. Now, don't get me wrong, Facebook could change, and that whole thing could elapse again. Like, there's a lot of opportunity with stuff like that with Instagram and with other type of social platforms out there. But this is what I've noticed with Facebook. And like I said, I kind of secretively and funny and jokingly look at Facebook as the police. You got to know your laws, right? If you're walking and jaywalking across the street, you jaywalked right in front of a cop. So just keep that in mind. When you are doing your Facebook marketing. I think as long as you meet and you exceed the levels and you make sure you read those bylaws, you'll do fine. You'll do great. You'll find ways to be successful with marketing and with ad creatives and with posts and stuff like that to rile your niche or whatever it is that you're doing, online. A lot of physical products are being sold within Facebook. So it just depends on your niche and what you're going after.
Yeah, I know that's a huge thing. Is there's a lot of people out there and they'll use, whether it's Amazon or whether it's Facebook or some other social media platform. And like you said, you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket and all of a sudden that basket's gone overnight. And it's like, what do I do? And, I got employees I got to pay, I got bills I got to pay and all this other stuff. And they got to start all over again. So,
yeah.
It's, people talk about growing that community and realizing that when you do grow a community on one of these platforms, then it belongs to that community. It's not yours. They're just allowing you to play in the sandbox. And as long as you're playing nice with their people in the sandbox, they let you continue to play. But if you don't own the platform, it's not yours. They can do what they want with it. Exactly. So Karl, I know that everything's always been great for you. What would you say is one of the low points along the lines of your entrepreneur career where you're like, man, how the hell did I end up here? And what did you do to get out of it?
Some low points. There's definitely always some low points in life, right? There was definitely a time where, I'll give you an example. There was a product, it was an MLM product, and it had to do with internet marketing. This was actually my first ever internet marketing anything. It was back in 1999 or 2000. There's a company called SkyBiz 2000, okay? And what it was this like weird matrix paid system. There was like a little, like you could buy these business centers, and each business center was a website that you could sell to a business. All right. And they had this part, and they had like the second two parts, and you could buy up to 3, which would like maximize your income. All right. So, and then you would build these lines, and you just focus on building one line while you get your other people to focus building on these other lines. And it was a cool concept. I actually made money. I made like $3,000 like right away within the first month. And I was going out and I was pitching like fraternities on the local college campus. I was pitching all my friends. And right after we did that, the company got shut down after I literally like signed up like 300 or 400 people. Literally, the company got shut down by the FBI, and they were gone, completely just disappeared. Well, I ended up losing like a bunch of friends out of it, which kind of sucked because they all had like $300 or $400 invested into it. And so some of them, it was like, what do I do? What can you do? And so there was a low point there where I was like, what, screw this internet marketing business. That was my mindset at that time. I'm going to go just get a different job. I worked at UPS for quite some time, but that was like a part-time deal for 7 years. And I ended up going and working at a club. And so, club life is a little bit different. You're up all night long. There's definitely a lot of partying going on, a lot of party people. And there's a lot of good friends that came from that as well that I'm still really good friends with. But there was also some dark sides to it. And so there was some times where, just life took me down the wrong path. I got sidetracked. My entrepreneurial side was not firing on all cylinders. And so it took me to a low point in life to where I either had to make a decision. And that's another powerful thing, is the power of decision. Teach your children that at a young age. Once you realize that decisions ultimately, have a greater equal reaction to either good things or bad things, negative things, teach your children that, because I learned that too at a kind of young age. And I was just making bad decisions. And I realized I was making bad decisions at that age, and decided, I need to get myself refocused back into sales. And then I started door knocking, selling security systems, and became the #1 salesperson for that company. And then even ended up opening up my own business, a security company business, because I'm an entrepreneur. and actually had that going for a while, but then that failed as well, right? So things sometimes are out of your control. We had a capital issue, and so we had to shut the doors on that. And then I jumped right into the insurance industry and did that for, gosh, a good 7 years. I still own an insurance brokerage. We have over 200 agents nationwide. They're all contracted through us in some form or fashion. We have training, we have a CRM, but I automated the whole thing because of the knowledge I learned from the internet marketing industry. So after that, there was another point, I guess I should say, where things happened again. I worked for a big company selling insurance, great company, great leadership, great mentorship, great systems in place, but had some other things that was lacking. So I decided to leave that company after becoming a regional director, becoming like a pretty high position. The next position would have been like a partner. And I left, moved with me and my fiance at the time, now my wife, Ikumi. We moved away. We were both in the insurance industry, and then we hit rock bottom again. But that rock bottom was one of the worst ones because I was terribly out of shape. I had no money. I was scraping along, calling every family member to loan me a few bucks. Called my dad, my grandpa, my grandma, everybody, my aunt. Everybody would pull together every single month and send us money. Well, that wasn't really fair. So I made a decision. I had all this knowledge in the insurance industry, and I said, you know what? Why don't I start a brokerage? And I met this is the only time I've actually met Russell Brunson, but I went to a Russell Brunson event, and I got to meet him, and I talked to him for like 10 minutes. That was it. And I just said, hey, this is what I do. I want to get in the insurance business, or I want to get online. What would you give me as advice? And he said, well, do what you know best. And that's all he said. Do what you know best. And I was like, but I'm not passionate with it. And he's like, yeah, but just do it, get it out there, and then transition. And I was like, okay. So then that's kind of like a light bulb came on. I was like, well, how can I take the insurance industry and turn it into, how can I automate it? How can I take the industry and automate it? So I was like, I know how to build sales scripts, presentations, all this stuff. And so we built this whole system. I had a business partner at the time. We built like this whole thing. And then I made some adjustments. I made an online sales program. This is kind of boring, but I just did all this stuff. And I just like did a mind dump and got rid of it. But it's there online for anybody in the insurance industry to use. And they can go on there. They can be a part of the group that's in there, the conversation, and they can maximize their sales with it. And I just got it out there and got it out of the way. And that was sort of like my first online product ever. And because of it, it's kind of built a little bit of an insurance brokerage as well, where we offer contracts and stuff like that. So that's kind of where that came from. Last year we did $700,000 in renewable premium. So wow, it continues to build.
That's awesome. $700,000 renewable. That's like funny money. It's just left over.
Yeah, it's not. It sucks because I'm not passionate with it anymore, but it's there. I can't.
Well, we can thank Russell for having that conversation with you. It was definitely worth it.
Yeah. 5 minutes of powerful, made me switch my mind. I knew I was really already following what he was doing and really paying attention. So, he's definitely one of the greatest out there for teaching marketing. Absolutely.
He's definitely one of the greatest out there for teaching marketing. What 5 minutes that Russell did for you? I'll have to send this to Russell. It says actually, Russell, happy birthday, by the way, buddy.
Yeah, happy birthday.
All right, man. Well, hey, Karl, I appreciate you sharing the story. What's the best way for somebody to get in touch with you and learn more about the software and what you've been up to?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple different ways. You can go to Facebook and look up Karl the Shark Schuckert. We've got a little fan page there. Also, we have sharkbites.tv, which is a website and a fan page now. So you can go there, watch our shows. Please give me a review. I'd love for you guys to go on there and give me a good review if you like the show, if you enjoy the show. If you don't watch it. Yeah, definitely. It's good. Davin Michaels was on the first one.
Can you post a link after we're done the video?
Yeah, please do. Davin gave some serious.
Daryl the rock star in his own.
Yeah, he crushed it. Really, we dive deep into some of his first mentors and stuff like that. So it was a good show, and I'm excited to see where this thing is going. I know that Daryl, you've kind of helped get me in touch with somebody that does PR and stuff like that. So that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, Esther Kiss.
So we've had a really good conversation, and kind of hope we'll see where it goes from there. We got a couple of interviews lined up for TNC as well. We've got 2 other shows already recorded that'll go up.
So you got Michael Devlin's going to be down there in TNC.
Yeah, Michael Devlin and Alex Jeffries of they've
Apple Clippers. Wow, that's great.
Yeah, they've kind of committed. So hopefully everything, the world aligns and we can get together.
Well, I'm tagging both them in this video. So
cool. Yeah, please do. It'll be exciting.
Yeah.
So
thanks a lot, Karl. I appreciate you coming out, guys. Again, Karl, the Shark Schuckert, get him on Amazon Prime. Get him live, get him on the website. I look forward to working with you in the future, Karl. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It was awesome.